The centralization of the European Union is now a German obsession which represents a threat to the entire bloc, claims Jacek Saryusz-Wolski. Radical plans to change the treaties which bind members of the EU 27 together would result in the construction of a superstate, led by Germany, a Brussels insider has warned. Jacek Saryusz-Wolski MEP, an MEP for Poland's Law and Justice Party, offered a scathing verdict on today's adoption of the European Parliament's proposed amendments, spearheaded by, among others, arch-Brexit critic Guy Verhofstadt. Mr. Saryusz-Wolski, speaking on behalf of the Parliament's European Conservatives and Reformists group, said, "The European Parliament is launching a plan to change the treaties which, if not stopped, will mean a massive transfer of powers to the EU and a complete change in the community. The proposed reform of the EU treaties would mean a complete change of system and the construction of a superstate. It proposes a radical centralization of the EU, transforming it de facto into a centralized oligarchic European superstate beyond democratic control. Adopting these changes means weakening the member states by reducing and taking over their competence." The text, which has been proposed by Mr. Verhofstadt, Renew, Sven Simon, EPP, Gabriel Bischoff, SD, Daniel Freund, Wirtz, AL, and Helmut Scholz, the Left, is the result of discussions which took place during the Conference on the Future of Europe, concluded in May 2020. The ECR group has been fiercely critical of the conference, on the basis that it was dominated by speakers representing politically biased and centralist perspective. Mr. Saryusz-Wolski, who was one of the conference's co-reporters until July 2023, when he withdrew, explained, "The work on the report was carried out in a non-transparent and unfair manner. Although consensus was established as the main decision-making procedure, this was quickly changed to consensus -1 to exclude the ECR. Despite the gravity of the topics concerning the EU's constitutional changes, there has not been sufficiently in-depth discussion and comprehensive analysis regarding all the topics. Changes of a purely political and ideological nature have been pushed through. Thoroughly substantiated and concrete proposals, submitted by himself on behalf of the ECR, aimed at reinforce the functioning of treaty-based principles of subsidiarity and proportionality, were rejected outright." Mr. Saryusz-Wolski had repeatedly raised objections to the amendments proposed by the representatives of the other political groups. He emphasized, "The draft report, prepared in his absence, was completely unacceptable to the ECR group." He continued. He said, "The report also proposes cultural and ideological changes by replacing the term equality between men and women throughout the EU treaties with the term gender equality, which refers to anti-scientific, intrusive gender ideology. The proposed treaty changes reduce the role of states to that of federal states. The smaller member states would be vassals of the big ones and Germany will be the hegemon. It is significant that 4 of the 5 reporters come from Germany. The centralization of the EU is apparently a German obsession, even if it could bring down the entire EU edifice.